Hello and welcome to another MusicWorks Intern Alumni interview. My name's Amy Dunlap. I'm intern number 121, and today I'm here with Kristin Sjoberg, who finished her internship in December of 2012. Hi, Kristin.
Hi.
First, we're going to just start by asking you to tell me about your current job.
Okay. I work for Metro Music Therapy in Denver right now, in Denver, Colorado. And I started 1 month after I finished internship, so I was lucky. I found a job right away. And I work all over the place with lots of different clients, just like MusicWorks. I drive to all my clients. But my caseload, because all of us kind of specialize, my caseload is mostly children. And most of my kids have a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder.
Great.
So that's what I do.
And would you say that MusicWorks helped you to get where you are today?
Definitely, because my current employer, when she was interviewing me or when she called me for an interview, she talked about MusicWorks. She's like, "Oh, I saw you interned at MusicWorks. You should come in for an interview." So I know it helped. I know it got my foot in the door. And people know about this internship.
Great. And initially, what drew you to the MusicWorks internship?
Well, I initially was a little bit hesitant because it was a ways from home. I was born in Minnesota and went to school in Iowa. And I also heard that it was really rigorous, and I wasn't quite sure if that's what I wanted to do, but my professors were like, "No, this is the place for you. You're going to go there." And they were right. I learned a lot, and what I was really excited about was having so many different populations to work with, like everywhere from hospice to drug rehab to working in neonatal intensive care. I really appreciated having all those opportunities.
So that was ultimately what drew you to it?
Yeah.
Great. And can you remember maybe your favorite or one of your favorite moments from your MusicWorks internship?
I think most of my favorite moments had to do with specific clients and things that happened. I really liked working in a hospice, and that's something I miss now in my current job. And I really liked developing relationships with the families and being able to support them as their loved one died, and also being able to be there for them after the fact. Mm-hmm. I really liked having that kind of relationship. And I really liked working in drug rehab. It was scary at times. You never really know what's going to happen when you go in there with what people are going to say. But I had one session with one of my senior interns where it was just kind of like a breakthrough. Like everything just fell into place, and we got all these reactions where people were really open, and they had a lot of insight, and I loved that session. It was like that. It kept me on a high for like the rest of the week. It was so exciting.
So that one always stuck out to you as being kind of a turning point.
Yeah. Where I felt like I really knew what I was doing and I could be effective.
Awesome. That's a good feeling, I'm sure. Are there any aspects of what you learned at MusicWorks that best prepared you for your career today?
Well, because my job is a lot like MusicWorks and that I work with lots of different populations, that was definitely beneficial. And also, I thought I was busy at MusicWorks with lots of different clients. Now my caseload is like 2 to 3 times as much. So it was really helpful to have a lot of different clients that I saw every day and to have pretty packed days, so that helped prepare me for the busyness of my current job. And also, I thought when I was in internship, I didn't have nearly as much time to plan as when I was in practicum, and now I have like almost no time to plan. So that really helped me as well, having to make that process really smooth and quick.
So it just really made that bridge between college and the real world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe not easy, but smooth.
Yes. Yeah. Made me much more prepared.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. What was one of your biggest challenges during your internship?
I think the hardest thing for me was I really enjoyed working with populations that had a lot of emotional trauma going on, like working on the oncology floor and in intensive care and drug rehab and everything, hospice. But I had to learn how to leave their problems at the hospital or wherever they were and not take them home with me, so that I wasn't becoming so emotionally drained that I couldn't focus on everybody else that I had to. That was a challenge. And it really helped to have a good support system with the staff at MusicWorks and the other interns, but you have somebody to talk through that with.
Mm-hmm. someone who's maybe even seen the same patients and understands. So a good lesson in self-care, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's a good one. I've done a few of these interviews, and that's something that I hadn't thought of before, but it's a good one. So you kind of talked about this earlier at the drug and alcohol rehab session. It was an aha moment for you. Can you think of another aha moment? You know, Barbara's famous for saying, what was the aha?
Moment? Well, I think the first moment where I felt like I could potentially be competent was my senior intern. I was doing rounds with him at the hospital, and he was like, I think you're good now. Like, why don't you go over to the intensive care unit of 5 and just see if you can find somebody. And I walked on the floor, and I instantly, there was a nurse that came running up to me and was like, we have a crisis in this room. We need somebody to go in there. And I was like, I've never gone by myself before. And I went into this room, and this man was really not doing well, and there were over 20 people in his room. It was just packed, and everyone was crying. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. But I managed to get through it, and people started singing along, and we're sharing stories. And I left there, and I was like, well, it wasn't the best session that I could have possibly had, but it was the first time that I was on my own in a difficult situation, and it helped give me some confidence, like, maybe I can actually do this. Like, I survived this, and I think they're better off. So that was a big aha moment to me, a big confidence booster.
Wow, what an experience.
Yeah. It's a little crazy.
Yeah, but you never know. I mean, that's kind of the nature of the internship. You never know, but yet you come out the other side. First of all, you come out the other side, and second of all, you're bigger and stronger.
Yeah, and we all survive.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Awesome. And if you could give a piece of advice to future MusicWorks interns, what would you say to them?
Well, the biggest thing that I miss about MusicWorks right now is having other therapists to talk to. So we don't have an office at the company I work for, and I've never seen my coworkers. So I don't have that same connection at all, and it's made me really miss how at MusicWorks you can talk about a client with someone. You can go to a therapist or an intern and ask, like, what should I do in this situation? Like, I could call my boss up now, but it's not nearly as supportive and built-in community as internships. So I would advise interns to take really good advantage of that and to pick everyone's brain so that you're as prepared as you can possibly be in case you're in a situation where you're pretty much on your own.
Right, because it is an education setting, essentially, you know, and so it makes sense that we would have that support, but maybe we don't realize how important it is at the time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Kristin, and for answering our questions about MusicWorks.
Thank you. I hope you have a good rest of the internship.
Okay, thank you.